Mauer's Game Corner presents Gen Con Video Bonanza 2014. Made possible by Billionaire Banshee, Guys, Games, and Beer, Dashing Inventor Games, creators of the Simple System role-playing game system, and Zonko, makers of Mobs, the t-shirts that turned life into an RPG.
Ahoy there, YouTube. We're back with Cosmic Wombat Games, checking out Grow, Garden, Grow. What is this all about?
Grow, Garden, Grow is a simple, kind of a light strategy game, obviously about gardening. You're trying to plant the garden, you're trying to get the best garden while kind of sabotaging your opponent's garden because, you don't want their garden to look better than yours, right? So it is dice-based, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's a fair amount of strategy and different combinations. The way it works, you have different combinations. And so, somewhat similar to Yahtzee, it's a little bit different. But you have these four main dice. You have different symbols on them. You have a sun, you have a water droplet, you have kind of a soil, and a seedling. And so these different dice will get you combinations. As you can see, there's kind of a little guide. You have a seed, water, and earth gives you this little sprout token. So you put this little sprout token on a spot in your garden. It's worth 1 point. If later on, and I'll show you how the mechanic works, but if later on you get a water and a sun, then you can grow him, you flip him over, and now he's grown, he's larger, and he's worth 3 points. So the way it works, you also have this other dice, an 8-sided dice, that has some special seeds. There's an orchid seed, there's a lily seed, and a cactus seed. There's also a wild that has 3 of the different symbols. You can pick one of those 3, and so on. So you roll all 5 dice. So I'm going to roll all 5 dice. And the interesting mechanic, you can kind of bank dice like you can in Yahtzee, but the interesting thing is, I can bank these, but I can re-roll the other ones that I don't bank. Or I can make combinations. So let's say I had this sprout like this. Here's my water and sun. I use that as my water and sun to make to grow it into a larger plant, and I bank these others, let's say, for the sake of example. But it's kind of opposite of Yahtzee in that I actually re-roll the ones that I used. I have 3 rolls per turn, so I can bank these, re-roll these, that's my second roll, and then I maybe re-roll these others that I had banked, or maybe use my rolls that I just got in combination with the ones that I banked, and then I re-roll again for my third roll, and so on. Here I got 2 suns and I have a sun on the wild. There's also some interesting combinations I could do with 3 suns. I can actually cause a drought on my opponent, dry up a couple of his plants. If I get 3 waters, instead of using waters to grow my own plants, I can cause a flood on one of my opponents and remove one of his plants. The special seeds also give me the ability to grow additional plants. So I can get a lily seed with the water and sun and get a lily which goes into the pond. And so with them being in the pond, it's immune to flood, of course. It grows in the water. You also have a cactus that you can get that's earth and sun. Doesn't really do a lot with water, right? So you get a cactus. Cactus is immune to drought. So it's got some, a little bit less vulnerabilities than a normal plant. It's still 1 and 3 points. It still grows. The lily still grows, and so on. The orchid is kind of the prize gem of the garden. So when I get the orchid, it takes a little bit more to get. It takes kind of a combination of 4 dice rather than 3 dice. But when I get it, it's worth 2 points as a seedling. When I grow it, it's now worth 5 points. I also have some event die. I have 2 different combinations, 2 different event die, a white event die and a black event die. Black is kind of mostly targeting your opponent, attacking your opponent. White is mostly giving you some extra benefits. So just kind of running through these real quick, a couple of these. A wheelbarrow that I can get, there's different symbols on these, allows me to move 2 of my plants into the greenhouse, which protects them from drought, protects them from flood, protects them from rabbits that come and try to eat them and things like that. I cannot move the orchid into the greenhouse. That's just the rule, and it's more points, but it kind of has that vulnerability of it can't be in the greenhouse. So there's kind of that opportunity cost or give and take. The flamingo allows me to get a flamingo. It's worth 2 points. So I got this little garden, decoration in there as well. I can get a sprinkler. The sprinkler is the main component that allows the placement of the plants to be strategic, because the sprinkler will protect anything orthogonally adjacent from drought. So if I had an orchid, I may want to put it next to it to protect it from drought. Gives a little bit more protection than it would normally have otherwise. I got a fertilizer symbol that shows up, allows me to grow any of my seedlings into a sprout instantly. I can do that for two of them. I have a weed killer, which allows me to remove a weed, which is on the black die. So if I had a weed in my garden, which if I roll that on the black die, I can plant that in somebody else's garden. It's a nice little pretty dandelion there, and it's worth -2 points. So it reduces points and takes up a spot in their garden. A rock kind of is, actually it targets me. There's one on each dice that is detrimental to me. So there's always that off chance that I might get something that's going to cause me harm. But a rock just takes up space in my garden. The only way I can get rid of it is rolling a pickaxe on the other die. And the pickaxe, I can do one of two things. I can either break up that rock, remove that rock, or I can till the land, because you start out with some spots covered up that you can't use. So if you get to where you have too much garden and you want to expand more, well, I can't expand more until I till this land. So I would use that to till this land. Now I have more spots open up. Continuing on the black dice, I have a mole. A mole is going to burrow underground, tunnel under, and he's going to come up underneath the greenhouse and eat your plants in the greenhouse. So your greenhouse, even though it protects from a lot of things, it's not ever 100% protected. It's not ever 100% invulnerable. You also have a tornado token you can get. With the tornado, it's kind of an interesting aspect here. I get the tornado token, and I can use it in any subsequent roll, my own or an opponent's, to force them to re-roll the dice. So if they got some really good combination or I got some really crappy combination, I can use it to re-roll. So I effectively have 4 rolls, for example. But I spend that token to do it. There's also a garden gnome, pesky little garden gnomes. Gotta watch them. Garden gnomes will steal opponents' plants. So the opponent has a plant over here. I'm going to steal that plant. Now I took your 3 points and I went up by 3 points.
They can steal orchids?
They can steal orchids as well. They cannot steal out of the greenhouse or out of the pond. And then also the bunny. There's a bunny and it comes and eats one of your plants. So it's going to eat one, and that's the one that's kind of detrimental to yourself. But it's going to eat. Well, it actually causes it to reduce a large plant to a small plant, or if it's a small plant, it'll remove it. Trying to think what else. So that's about it. The first player to 20 points is the winner, and it is flexible. You can play to longer points if you want a longer game and a little bit more competition. It does. It's officially right now rated as 2 to 6. It might be changing to 2 to 4. We're finding 6 players. There's a little bit too much lag between turns, so we might have to throw in some other mechanics to kind of account for that. We're playing around with some ideas there. And we're playing around with some other different ideas for maybe some other plants or different other combinations and so on. But it's really fun. A lot of people have really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun with it, a lot of camaraderie, and just this back and forth targeting each other, stealing plants and so on. So it's been really good, really fun. And that's Grow Garden Grow. So.
All right, thank you very much. With Cosmic Wombat Games, that's Grow Garden Grow. If it looks interesting, be sure to check out the link below. And also, if you're enjoying these videos, be sure to subscribe or comment. That's the word. Thanks for your time.
Bowers Game Corner presents Gen Con Video Bonanza 2014. Made possible by Billionaire Banshee, Guys, Games, and Beer, Dashing Inventor Games, creators of the Simple System role-playing game system, and Zonko, makers of Mobs, the t-shirts that turned life into an RPG.